I am the Whispering Storyteller. Good evening, everybody. It is Craig, Whispering Storyteller here. I hope you are well. So in tonight's episode of Did You Know? I am here inside the fabled TARDIS. Who knows where in time I'm going to pop up? So tonight we are talking all about the fantastically unique and iconic long-running science fiction show Doctor Who. And I'm going to tell you 50 facts that you may or may not know about this fantastic series. So why don't you relax, unwind, and just let this wash over you while you find yourself in a comfortable place, lying on your bed, your sofa, or maybe even at work having a sly ASMR session. I won't tell the boss if you won't. Okay, are you ready? Okay, I will dispense this information now. So first of all, since making its BBC debut on November the 23rd, 1963, Doctor Who has entranced many generations of fans, including a few of its future Doctors. It has a quirky mix of history and sci-fi. So, here are 50 interesting facts that you may have known about the groundbreaking British series, which turned 60 in November 2023. So Doctor Who is the longest running TV science fiction show in history. It is beating Star Trek, the original series, by 3 years, which aired in 1966. But in the UK, we had to wait till 1969. And actually, Star Trek, the original series, actually took Doctor Who's spot. Did you know that? It isn't actually part of one of these facts, but I thought I'd throw that one in. So who are the Doctors? Who are they in chronological order? Well, I'm going to tell you who they are. So the first Doctor was William Hartnell. William Hartnell. The second Doctor was Patrick Troughton. Patrick Troughton. The third Doctor was John Pertwee. John Pertwee. The fourth Doctor was Tom Baker. fifth Doctor was Peter Davison. Peter Davison. The sixth Doctor was Colin Baker. Colin Baker. The seventh Doctor was Sylvester McCoy. Sylvester McCoy. The eighth Doctor was Paul McGann. Paul McGann. The ninth Doctor was Christopher Eccleston. Christopher Eccleston. The 10th Doctor was David Tennant. David Tennant. The 11th Doctor was Matt Smith. Matt Smith. The 12th Doctor was Peter Capaldi. Peter Capaldi. And the 13th Doctor was Jodie Whittaker. Jodie Whittaker. The 14th Doctor, David Tennant again. The 14th Doctor, David Tennant. And finally, to come, the 15th Doctor is Ncuti Gatwa. Ncuti Gatwa, who will join in the festive period of 2023. 2023, Ncuti Gatwa. So let me begin. 50 facts all about Doctor Who. Did you know, number one, did you know Doctor Who was originally created as a kids show? It's true. It is quoted that the series was originally meant to be educational for kids, and they were trying or aiming to educate kids about certain things of the human condition. Number two, did you know that the Doctor was partly inspired by Sherlock Holmes? As one of the most adapted literary characters of all time, it's hardly surprising that the Doctor shares a few characteristics with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's famous detective. And according to the BBC, Doctor Who was partially inspired by Sherlock Holmes, and even the 4th and 11th Doctors dressed up as him, as a nice little homage. Number three. Did you know that the Doctor didn't become a Time Lord until 1969? Did you know that? Did you really? I bet you did. So, most people will tell you that the Doctor is a Time Lord, an ancient alien species that has the power to travel through time. Now, the term itself wasn't actually used until the series' 6th season episode, which was The War Games. His home planet of Gallifrey wasn't mentioned by name until 1973. Number 4. So, is the Doctor really a doctor? Well, according to the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton, the answer is yes. Well, at least he thinks so. In the season 4 episode, The Moon Base, the Doctor's companion Polly asked him what audiences had been wondering for years. So, are you a medical doctor? She asked. To which the Doctor replied, yes, I think I was once. I think I took a degree once in Glasgow. 1888, I think. What did you think of that one, eh? What did you think of that little quirky fact? Number 5. Question 5. Did you know that the Doctor's health problems led to the regeneration concept? So, William Hartnell, who played the first Doctor from 1963 to 1966, was having health problems towards the end of his run on the series. To ensure that the show could go on without its original star, and to avoid enraging viewers who had come to love Hartnell, the showrunners decided to instead have the ability for the Doctor to regenerate as part of the Doctor's mythology. Did you know that? I bet you did. If you're a Whovian, you would know that for sure. If you're not a Whovian, you've learned something. Maybe. Number 6. You ready for number 6? Okay, here goes. Did you know that the Doctor's regeneration is supposed to feel like a bad acid trip? Interesting. So years after it was written, an internal BBC memo was uncovered that outlined the metaphysical change that would take place as the first Doctor became the second Doctor. It was as if he had taken the LSD drug, the memo explained, and instead of experiencing the kicks, he was the hell and dank horror which can be its effect. So remember, we're talking the 1960s here, and LSD was kind of in the news a lot, and a lot of people were taking LSD. It was the transition into the summer of love and became the hippie scene and the hippie drug. So that's very of its time, but it has kind of caught on and become a staple of the Doctor Who mythology, as I mentioned. Number 7. Did you know that the TARDIS isn't always supposed to look like a police box? Well, the TARDIS has always looked like a police box, but it turns out it was only because of a technical malfunction. In An Unearthly Child, the pilot episode, we learn that the TARDIS is supposed to blend into whatever time and place it has travelled to. But its cloaking device, known as the chameleon circuit, has broken down, and that's why it was a police box. Number 8. Number 8. Did you know that Ridley Scott was supposed to design the Daleks? Ridley Scott. So, considering what Ridley Scott did with Alien and Blade Runner, seeing what the Oscar-nominated director Ridley Scott could have dreamed up for the Daleks would have been pretty fascinating. Unfortunately, we never got the chance. Although Scott, who worked for the BBC at the time of Doctor Who's creation, was assigned the unenviable task of designing the show's devilish Daleks, but he ended up leaving the network to concentrate on becoming a director. Imagine if he'd stayed on the set and did the Daleks. I wonder how different it would have been, and I wonder how different Ridley Scott's career would have been. We may never know. In fact, we will never know. Number 9. Number 9. I'm going to whisper this one. One of Doctor Who's original creators was not happy about the Daleks. So Sidney Newman, the BBC's then head of drama, and one of Doctor Who's original creators, was very specific about one thing he did not want to see in the series. He hated stories which used bug-eyed monsters, otherwise known as BEMs, and wanted none of them in Doctor Who. After a few episodes, producer Verity Lambert turned up with the Daleks. I bawled her out for it, but she said, "Honest Sydney, they're not bug-eyed monsters. They're human beings who are so advanced that their bodies have atrophied and they need these casings to manipulate and do the things they want." Of course, the Daleks took off and captured everyone's imaginations. Number 10. Number 10. Did you know that operators controlled the Daleks from within, and it was no easy task? Did you know that? Did you? Well, let's find out a little bit more about that. So the Daleks were designed in 2 parts so that an operator could wedge themselves into the bottom portion in order to operate the device. The space was hot, very, very, very cramped, and made it difficult to hear anything. You had to have about 6 hands, one for the eye stalk, one to do the light, and one for the gun, another for the small canister underneath, yet another for the sink plunger. That's what John Scott Martin, one of the original Dalek operators, said. If you were related to an octopus, then it helped. But somehow these guys made it work and made it so terrifying. I mean, the voice of the Daleks themselves is the stuff of nightmares. Just gives me the shivers even thinking about it. Number 11. Number 11. The Daleks almost didn't make it to Doctor Who's revival. Well, when Doctor Who made its triumphant return to television in 2005, it almost happened without the Daleks. The estate of Terry Nation, who created the mutants, had initially attempted to block their return to the new series, claiming that it would ruin the brand of the Daleks. At one point, when the negotiations between the BBC and Nation's estate seemed to have broken down, the show's producers even created a new villain, but fortunately they did work things out, and we got the Daleks back. Rather spectacularly, may I add. Did you know, number 12, did you know that Douglas Adams wrote several episodes of Doctor Who? Douglas Adams, of course, of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So at the same time he was creating episodes of Hitchhikers for the BBC Radio 4, he was commissioned to do some writing for Doctor Who. Amazing name. Number 13. Number 13. Did you know that Tom Baker has the longest tenure as a Doctor on Doctor Who? The fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, played the Doctor for 7 years, and that was 172 episodes, longer than any other actor. As far as the rebooted series goes, David Tennant holds the record with 6 years and 47 episodes. David Tennant is my personal favourite Doctor. I'd actually be interested to know who your favourite Doctor is and why. So I thought David Tennant brought a fresh, quirky perspective to the Doctor. Everything about him is iconic and likeable. He's just my favourite, always has been. But before that, I always liked the original Doctor, the old William Hartnell. As a kid, I used to just look and think, how fantastic he played that role. And he was the very original Doctor. But I'd like to know who your favourite Doctor is. Number 14. Did you know that haunting Doctor Who theme tune was written by Australian composer Ron Grainer? It was realised by Delia Derbyshire in the BBC Radiophonic Workshop and was created in 1963 and became one of the first electronic signature tunes for television. Now, Grainer also composed soundtracks for the TV shows The Prisoner, Steptoe & Son, Tales of the Unexpected, and even the Hollywood science fiction classic The Omega Man, which starred Charlton Heston, which of course was a version of I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. Great theme tune as well. Check it out. Number 14. Did you know that it took 6 years to trademark the TARDIS? 6 years to trademark the TARDIS. So reading this here, in 1996, after years of selling TARDIS branded merchandise, the BBC attempted to officially trademark the Doctor's preferred mode of transportation, but the move was met with resistance from the Metropolitan Police, as the time travel machine is essentially a police box. 6 years later, in 2002, the BBC finally won the case, while the Metropolitan Police were ordered to pay £850 plus legal costs. A bit of interesting trivia for you there. I didn't even know that one, to be honest. Number 16. Number 16, a lovely fact. Did you know that David Tennant became an actor with the specific goal of playing the Doctor? Isn't that great? So, when the 10th Doctor was just a kid, he grew up exactly knowing what he wanted to be when he grew up. The star of Doctor Who. And it was Tom Baker's version of the Doctor in particular that inspired David Tennant to become an actor. He carried around a Doctor Who doll and wrote Doctor Who-inspired essays at school, and he claimed that Doctor Who was a cultural furniture in Britain in the 1970s and the 1980s. And I agree completely. Number 17. Number 17. Did you know that Peter Capaldi is a major Whovian too? And he wouldn't leave the BBC alone. I love this one too. This is a great fact. So, I'll read it out. The 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi, was obsessed with the series as a kid. And as a teenager, he created a ton of Doctor Who fan art and even managed to get some of it published. More than 40 years before he became the Doctor, some BBC staffers already knew his name because he used to inundate them with letters requesting production photographs and begging them to be president of the show's fan club. Isn't that just fantastic? I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Are you enjoying this so far? I hope you are. I really, really do. So, let's move on swiftly to fact number 18. Number 18. Fact 18. Did you know that Catherine Zeta-Jones could have been the Doctor? So Catherine Zeta-Jones is Mrs. Michael Douglas, is that correct? And she's all Hollywood now, isn't she? She's been over in America for years, but she could have been the Doctor. Let's find out a little bit more. Although Jodie Whittaker is the series' first official female Doctor, she is not the first actress to be considered for the role. So back in the 1980s, Sidley Newman had an idea for how to revitalise the show and regenerate the Time Lord into a Time Lady. So for years, the show's producers have toyed with making the Doctor a woman. And in 2008, showrunner Russell Davies broached the idea yet again and cited Catherine Zeta-Jones as his top pick to replace Tennant. Interesting. Imagine if she had come to play the Doctor. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think she would have been good? Would you have enjoyed that? Interesting, interesting. Okay, so let's move on to fact 19. 19. Did you know that Benedict Cumberbatch and Hugh Grant both turned down the chance to play the Doctor? They both turned it down. It's true. So, Catherine Zeta-Jones isn't the only famous could-have-been Doctor, because Hugh Grant was offered the role of the Doctor when the show was being revitalised, but reportedly turned it down because he was worried it wouldn't be a hit. How wrong he was. How wrong he was. Sherlock star Benedict Cumberbatch, who was fantastic by the way, also said no. David and I talked about it and I thought it would have to be radically different. And that is, quote, Cumberbatch himself. I quite like Benedict Cumberbatch too, but I wonder what changes he would have requested. That's an interesting one. What do you think of that one? Number 20. Number 20. Okay, so Matt Smith auditioned to play Sherlock's Dr. Watson a week before auditioning for Doctor Who. Now that's interesting. Let's find out a little bit more, eh? So, although Cumberbatch was always the first and only choice for Sherlock's lead role, a number of actors, including Matt Smith, auditioned to play his sidekick, Dr. John Watson. Smith auditioned for the role just about a week before he went in and read for the 11th Doctor. Fortunately, the latter worked out for him. Stephen Moffat was actually the showrunner on both Doctor Who and Sherlock, and though Broadchurch creator Chris Chibnall took over those duties beginning with season 11. And that's interesting, very, very interesting. Matt Smith was a good Doctor too. Fact 21. You ready for Fact 21? Well, did you know that the 11th Doctor was originally supposed to have a Buccaneer-inspired look? Imagine that. So Matt Smith's professional tweed jacket and bow tie ensemble are now pretty iconic for the Doctor Who universe, but it took a while to land on that look. So the costume department itself tested lots of different looks, though everyone agreed that the geek chic look actually worked for Matt. So imagine him as the Buccaneer style. I don't know why I'm getting Captain Jack Sparrow in mind. I'm kind of imagining all of the pirate outfit. Would that have worked for you, do you think? No, you can't see Matt Smith without the bow tie. You just can't, can you? I'm so pleased to win with the bow tie. I'm so pleased, pleased. Right. Number 22. Number 22, staying on the same subject. Did you know that the 11th Doctor's look created a demand for bow ties? So Matt Smith's look created a demand for bow ties. So, while Matt Smith, as the 11th Doctor, was finding his look in his first episode, he declared that bow ties are cool. And he was clearly onto something. In 2010, British retailer Topman said that since the new Doctor Who aired, we've seen a dramatic rise in bow tie sales. And in the last month, sales have increased by 94%. Wow. That is quite a lot. That is quite a rise in sales, isn't it? Just because of Doctor Who. Fantastic, isn't it? Moving on to 23. Fact 23. Did you know that there is an asteroid named after the TARDIS? Oh, it's true, I tell you. Very, very true. So, on May the 3rd, 1984, Brian A. Skiff discovered a new asteroid, which was asteroid 3325 TARDIS, which he named for the Doctor's police box time machine. Isn't that great? I love these facts. They really, really make me smile. Moving on to 24. Number 24. Did you know that Jodie Whittaker was Chris Chibnall's first choice to play the 13th Doctor? So Jodie Whittaker wasn't the only newcomer to the 11th season of Doctor Who. Broadchurch creator Chris Chibnall, who worked with Whittaker for years and had written for the sci-fi series previously, was tapped to be the show's new showrunner. While it was always a big deal when the Doctor regenerates on BBC's Doctor Who, and while it was always such a big deal when the Doctor did regenerate, he made it clear he wanted the next Doctor to be a woman. And Whittaker quickly rose to the very top of his list with a very few actors who could pull the role off. He said, "I always knew I wanted the 13th Doctor to be a woman, and we were thrilled to secure our number one choice. So when Whittaker's casting was announced, he also said that Jodie is a force of nature and will bring lots of wit, strength and warmth to the role. Which leads me on to fact 25. Fact 25. Did you know that Jodie Whittaker doesn't think she was the obvious choice to play the 13th Doctor? Well, because so much of Whittaker's past work had been dramatic in nature, she was pretty sure that it was only because of Chris Chibnall knew her off-screen personality that she was considered for the part. If Chris had only known my work, she said, I don't think I would have necessarily been chosen as right for the role, because a lot of my work has been emotional or heavy-traumatized with a heavy energy. But in real life, I'm quite hyperactive and manic, so I think he saw those qualities in me which lend themselves to the role. I was lucky that he knew me personally, and I knew I was a team player, and I really enjoyed being part of an ensemble. I really love filming and being on set. You need someone who loves the job because it's very, very long hours. Well said, Jodie, and you absolutely nailed it. Fact 26. Fact 26. Fact 26. Jodie Whittaker's first episode was the most watched Doctor Who episode in more than 10 years. Oh, it's true. It is true. When Jodie Whittaker made her official debut as the Doctor in the fall of 2018, and approximately 9 million people tuned in to watch. This made it the most highly rated Doctor Who episode in more than a decade. Only Christopher Eccleston's debut, which was the debut of the series reboot, beat Whittaker's numbers. 9.9 million people tuned into that particular episode. Number 27. Number 27. Number 27. Did you know that a 1979 episode is the most watched Doctor Who episode ever? It's true. The City of Death, which aired in October 1979 and featured the 4th Doctor, boasted an amazing 16 million viewers. That is a lot of people, a lot of people. Voyage of the Damned, the 2007 Christmas episode starring Kylie Minogue opposite David Tennant, came in second with 13.31 million viewers. That is amazing too. Number 28. Number 28. The 2008 episode of The Fires of Pompeii, which recreated the volcanic eruption, was notable for 2 of its guest stars. Peter Capaldi played a sculptor, while Karen Gillan, who played the beloved companion to Matt Smith's 11th Doctor, was cast as a toothsayer. Interesting to know that as well. Did you know that? Did you know that? Number 29. Caitlin Blackwood, who played the young Amy Pond, is Karen Gillan's cousin. Well, Caitlin Blackwood was just 9 years old when she famously played the younger version of the 11th Doctor's beloved companion, Amy Pond. If you noticed the resemblance between Blackwood and Karen Gillan, who played the adult version of Amy, it might be because the 2 actors are cousins, although the first time they ever met was actually during the on-set table read. Isn't that a great story too? Number 30. Number 30. Fact number 30. A proposed Doctor Who movie starring Michael Jackson was abandoned. Well, in the late 1980s, at the height of Michael Jackson's mania, Paramount Pictures proposed a Doctor Who movie that would see the King of Pop play the Time Lord. Obviously and unfortunately, this never happened. How would you feel about Michael Jackson playing the Doctor? Do you think it would have worked? For debate. Number 31. Number 31. The 10th Doctor married the 5th Doctor's daughter, who played the 10th Doctor's daughter. Now that is confusing. Very, very, very confusing. So let's find out a little bit more. So, are you ready? So in 2011, David Tennant married Georgia Moffat, who played his artificially created daughter Jenny in the 2008 episode The Doctor's Daughter. Now, in real life, Moffat really is the Doctor's daughter. Her father is Peter Davison, who played the 5th Doctor from 1981 to 1984. That makes sense now, and how fantastic is that fact? That is one of the best ones. Wow, wow, wow. Number 32. Number 32. Number 32. Did you know that more than 100 Doctor Who episodes are lost? I did actually, but let's have a look a little bit more about it. So back in the 1960s and 70s, archiving media was much more difficult and a physical process. So as a result, more than 100 episodes of the show's original incarnation were deleted, destroyed, or otherwise lost. Well, fortunately, the series fanbase have been able to step in and help, and provided the network with their own personal copies to help rebuild the Doctor Who library. It was such a time-consuming job to archive, and maybe they didn't really think that it would be of any interest in the future. Remember, it was kind of on the very early period of television, and I guess they just didn't look too far into the future. There's a lot of shows with missing episodes as well, but the Doctor Who ones are probably the most famous and iconic. Number 33. Did you know that the original Doctor Who pilot was amongst the missing episodes? Well, initially it seemed that the very, very first episode of Doctor Who was one of the many that had been lost at time. However, in 1978, it was fortunately rediscovered in a mislabeled film can. That's quite a famous bit of information. So the very first episode pilot was lost for the longest time. Number 34. Number 34. Did you know that several Doctor Who words have made it into the dictionary? It's true. It's so true. In 2017, sonic screwdriver was added to the Oxford English Dictionary, which defined it as a handheld electronic device which uses sound waves to perform various mechanical and technical functions. Originally and chiefly in British television series Doctor Who, it's not the only one of the show's phrases to make it into the OED. TARDIS, Dalek and Cyberman are there too. Number 35. Number 35. Only a few people know the Doctor's real name. Well, although audiences only know him as the Doctor, the Time Lord does have a real name. And a few people do know it, including the Master, River Song, and his long-time companion Clara Oswald. So they're the only people who know his true name. Number 36. Number 36. The Doctor is said to be 2,000 years old. So thinking about it, he was 903 years old in The Voyage of the Damned. He spent 200 years travelling between the God Complex and Closing Time. And then he spent presumably 900 years on Trenzalore. So as such, he is 2,000 years old by the time of the 12 in Deep Breath. 2,000 years old by reckoning. What do you think? It said 900 years or something in some other searches. What do you think of that? And number 37. Now this is an interesting one, and I often wondered this many years ago, but despite appearing in 2 major film adaptations, Peter Cushing is not considered to be an actual Doctor. So there's a few reasons why Peter Cushing isn't on any official list of Doctors. So for one, he didn't play the Doctor in the original TV series. Secondly, his Doctor is a human whose name is Doctor Who. And the 2 films do not fit into the continuity of the show, as they are reworkings of previous storylines. So Peter Cushing, we love him, we respect him, but unfortunately he doesn't fit into the universe that is created by the TV series. Now, despite this, the 8th Doctor, played by Paul McCann, is supported as a canon Doctor, despite only appearing in the one movie, the 1996 TV movie. Number 38. Doctor Who showrunner Stephen Moffat was initially opposed to Matt Smith's wish to wear his now iconic bow tie. I think we've already covered that one just not long ago, so yeah, we did know that, didn't we? Number 39. All of the Silurians seen from 2010's The Hungry Earth to 2013 were played by the same 3 actors. Did you know that? Did you know that? And number 40. Paul McGann is technically the longest serving Doctor. So although he only appeared once on television in 1996, this was until 2013's The Night of the Doctor. So technically the longest serving Doctor. Number 41. So all of David Tennant's suits, including the jackets he wore, are all made out of off-the-rack clothes. All off the rack. All those suits that he wore. And number 42. The Impossible Astronaut 2011 was the first episode filmed in the United States, where the actors playing the Doctor and his companions actually participated in shooting. The earlier Daleks in Manhattan featured footage filmed in New York, which was then digitally blended with the Welsh locations in which David Tennant and Freema Agyeman were shooting. Number 43. Number 43. Number 43. The TARDIS has a 6-sided control console because it was designed to have 6 operatives. Did you know that one? Did you? Number 44. Rose in 2005 was the first episode ever named for a companion, although the title of the original pilot episode, An Unearthly Child, does refer to the Doctor's earliest companion, his granddaughter Susan. Number 45. The TARDIS wheezes and groans during landing because the Doctor leaves the brakes on. So that's what causes that iconic sound that we all know and love, is because he left the brakes on. Number 46. Number 46. 2 of the actors playing the Doctor have married actresses who had continuing or key roles in the series. Tom Baker was briefly married to Lalla Ward, who played the Time Lady Romana in the early 1980s, And David Tennant is now married to Georgia Moffat, who we mentioned a little bit earlier, who played the Doctor's daughter Jenny and is coincidentally the real daughter of the 5th Doctor, Peter Davison. We knew that one, but I didn't know about the Tom Baker one. 47. We're getting to the end now. We're almost at the end. I do hope you've enjoyed it. So, number 47. The 2007 episodes Human Nature and Blink were based on an original Doctor Who novel written in 1995 as part of the new Adventures series that picked up where the classic series left off, and therefore originally featured the 7th Doctor, Sylvester McCoy. Interesting. And number 48. The Weeping Angels, terrifying things. So the ancient race of aliens, the Weeping Angels, were inspired by a carved figure in a graveyard that Stephen Moffat used to see when he went on family holidays. The graveyard was marked dangerous, which of course attracted Moffat's interest. Those Weeping Angels are the stuff of nightmares. Who is your most scariest Doctor Who villain? Or creatures, or monsters, or aliens? What is your... is it the Daleks, of course, the iconic? But I think the Weeping Angels, for me, very, very creepy. Number 49. We already know this one, but I'll repeat it. The TARDIS looks like an old-fashioned police lock-up box because its cloaking device, the chameleon circuit, malfunctioned after the Doctor's first visit to 1963 London. We knew that, didn't we? We knew that. And for the final 50, number 50, the final fact. In 2013, for the 50th anniversary, John Hurt was introduced as the War Doctor. Hurt was not a conventional incarnation of the Doctor, although Hurt played the 9th in chronological order, so he's officially known as the War Doctor. John Hurt is the War Doctor, the late great John Hurt. So we've now reached the end of our 50 fascinating facts, although a few of them were kind of repeated in so many words. I do hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you can join me for some more facts about our favourite stories, books, movies, people. So as always, I thank everybody for their kind donations, for comments, and supporting this. And if you are able to hit the subscribe button, that means that you will be notified of all the latest content that I create, and helps me to keep connected to you and give you the best content which connects to you guys, what you guys want to hear. So I will bid you a good night and sweet dreams, and I will see you soon. Take care.